Alrighty. Let's do Jupiter, shall we? Let's do this. Okay. So, we are going to talk about the Jupiter state of Aries, right? It is supposed to be responsible for happiness in enterprises, friendship and favor, and a powerful person. So if you're looking to gain influence, you could do a spell with the Aries quality of Jupiter. For Taurus, difficult beginnings and perils of success, but through powerful friendships, fortunate enterprises can be cultivated, right? There could be a fortune of something stable, like we talked about. Earth is the stability for Taurus. And then it moves into Gemini as powerful friendships and good fortune, but exposed to the vicissitudes and the sudden reverses of aptitude for science and gain through negotiating. So, meaning you can fuck up what you had if you're not balancing out the Gemini aspects of Jupiter, because it'll be sudden inversions. It'll be the behavior over here now goes against the behavior over here. So, like I talked about when it comes to dealing with Gemini, you have to have two separate minds reconciling in the singular action. Otherwise, it's a clusterfuck and a hot mess. With Cancer, the friendships that don't last, they alternatives between good and ill will. Like, Cancer's going to be like the fishes. They'll like just swim, go back and forth between, oh, they like you, oh, they hate you, oh, they like you. It's a drama of that one. Whereas with Gemini, they're going in two separate directions. This one is they've reconciled it a bit, but there's still a little about it. Like it's not quite there. So the Jupiter aspect of Leo represents wisdom, strength of mind, sympathy, favor of important persons, bad choices from a spouse, and little happiness in marriage. So you can see that, you can cause that, you can balance that out. So if somebody is having unlucky marriage or a bad experience with it, you can use ingredients of inversion to elevate that negative condition of the Jupiter and Leo state. So if it's, while it is strength of mind and there's little happiness in marriage, it's because there's a not shared communication, right? So putting that on its head allows you to cast the spell, but do so in a way where that what you're doing, how you're doing it, and what ends up as a result of doing it works out in the favor of the individual. So again, your ingredients will be chosen based on the outcome that they provide. Is it going to be the ill will, or is it going to be like the fiery aspect of Leo under Jupiter, or is it going to be the watery aspect, or is it going to be the just whatever ingredients that you're going to need for that? That's where you start thinking about these conversations. So for Virgo, it's honesty, fidelity in affections, instability of fortune. It's unfavorable with Saturn. Saturn in Pisces is the same kind of negative thing. Virgo, it's not necessarily going to be a good thing, not necessarily going to be a bad thing. It really does depend on you and what it is you're working on. Now, we move into Libra, the scales, right? Difficult beginning when unfortunate experiences are unfortunate experience is overall opportunities improve. Okay, so that one is, sorry for my notes, they're all written in pencil. The difficulty of the beginning. So like you're going to start out rough and then you're going to get better. You're going to, it's the scales, it's the balance. It's really bad over here because you're just starting out, and then you're going to get really good over here. It's that journey to come into balance between knowing that you're going to be awesome at something and not knowing that while you suck at it, right? Like everybody gets used to that. It's that developmental path working that we go on. Scorpio, it is under Jupiter in this as a religious spirit for good opportunities and for the fortune of others, right? Sagittarius in Jupiter is for elevation and successes with the plants. Yeah, Sagittarius, elevation. So if you're going to be doing elevation and success work, so Jupiter's driving forces in this case would be that one. Jupiter in Capricorn would be goodwill of the greedy, no. Be fortunate enterprises according to status. Favorable to the fortune of priests. So that one, if you're going to be doing something, so the Jupiter of Capricorn, that would be, what if I used that spell for? Winning favor from others, right? Like Jupiter is the path of wealth. It is the rulership. It is the thing that holds all other things in balance, right? It's time. So Capricorn is the balancing of time. Aquarius is great fortune and carelessness about the interests of life. Mortal laziness, mental laziness, and not good for fortunes of priests. So in Capricorn, you've got favorable for priests because it's the earthy aspect of that. And then Aquarius, it's like water washing through. It'll just run away from you if you don't have a place for it to go. Pisces is aptitude for science, wisdom, and remarkable faculties. So if you're going to want to enhance your psychic ability, you could use Jupiter under Pisces to do that. So because Jupiter has already been talked about as far as the primary planets are concerned, the ones that I've got here listed for Jupiter under those is Mars is for elevation and success in enterprise. Jupiter of the Sun is good for opportunities in the east, danger and adversity, and distress from the west. So remember the other day I talked about if you're lining it up to the east, is it coming across for you or is it going into with the west? Mercury, in this case, is going to be great elevation of the priesthood, the great aptitude for mathematics, good fortune with princes and powerful persons. So again, that is oratory skills. It is the rulership of speech, right? Jupiter is the king, Mercury is communication. Speak good and you communicate good and you deal with kings. Right? So that's what that one does. The the moon in that aspect is fortunate in waxing and unfortunate in waning. So if you're going to be using Jupiter and the moon phase is not either 100% the new moon or 100% the full moon, fortunate aspects of money coming to you is as it waxes, as it gets bigger. Unfortunate, your goes away. Like it pulls the plug, right? Like you go into the full moon, that's a fortune. If you go from the full moon to the new moon, that's unfortunate, right? So it balances out in that particular way. Jupiter of Jupiter, like I said, is rulership. It is the stability. It is those things which are unto itself contained within it, right? So again, we don't have to worry about, well, is the Aries state going to be something that produces happiness while the Capricorn state can take away your fortunes? Or in this case, you can also do Libra to force you through the fires, so to speak. So when you're dealing with Jupiter and you're bringing these energies into your life, those are things you should be aware of. So they're going to come into play regardless of if you focus on them or not. So if your spells are going funny, it's because of these kinds of interactions that you're getting from the relationship of your spells, its ingredients, and its place in the space-time continuum. So as you conjure these things in fixed moments, these other behaviors are still supplemental to what it is you're going to experience. So just be careful when you're conjuring up Jupiter. You will get these involved. This is why I use an anchoring medium to use all 12 states to keep it all in favor, to keep it all in balance, right? And that's why those kinds of things are important. But anyway, my friends, I will see you for our next planet.